Okay, so the boys are being fed. I think we must give him a little less today. One less to each one today. No, leave two over. They're not so hungry. And I've noticed that they do eat whatever they're given. I think that's enough. Yeah, 3 each is good. So let's give him a little less, because Enzo is getting overweight, and it's better to just keep their diet perfect. I adjust it constantly. There's no, how can I say, there's no real formula. It depends on the time of the year. It depends on the temperature. It depends on so many things. If it's warm, they eat more. Actually, no. When it's warm, they eat less. When it's cold, they eat more. So, and it actually makes sense if you think about it. Their heart is pumping blood through their bodies. That has some friction element, and that friction causes heat, and that is what brings, well, everybody's temperature to, let's say, 36 degrees Celsius. So when you're losing that heat, your heart is going to have to work harder to produce more of the friction. The friction is just a byproduct of living, and that creates the heat. So if you're cooling down too quick, your heart is going to have to step it up, create more friction in your veins. Now that does not necessarily need to happen with more blood being pumped through your system. Your arteries can basically throttle the blood a little bit, and that would create more friction. That would create more higher blood pressure as well. And what happens when pressure goes up, temperature goes up. So I'm not figuring this out from a medical point of view. I'm figuring this out from a scientific point of view. So higher blood pressure will definitely increase heat. And when you lose, listen to this crazy thing, guys. When you lose that heat and your blood pressure goes down, you will have a cooling effect in the blood. That's how a fridge works. So I can figure certain things out that happens in a body that has nothing to do with the healthcare system. It's science. So I would say a doctor should actually be a technical person. And the opposite happens here in South Africa. Doctors does not really come from a technical point of entry. They usually come from an academic point. And there's another thing, like, let's say you're breathing oxygen through a pipe that comes out of a cylinder. Guys, the pressure in that cylinder is high. When they charged it up, it got hot, and then it released that energy into the atmosphere. So that heat energy is now gone. So when you open up that bottle, the valve, and you throttle that down to, let's say, atmospheric pressure, which is 101.3 kPa at sea level. Now what's going to happen is that oxygen is going to experience a cooling effect. It's just gonna happen. It happens because that is how gases behave. But now you're running that 5 degrees or maybe even -5 degrees oxygen straight into somebody's nose. Now guys, that the last time I checked, the guy is overheating in bed from some kind of a fever caused by the body noticing a virus, and it brings its temperature up so the virus won't survive. But in the same moment, that same person is breathing air that is equivalent to the temperature you will breathe it in Arctic maritime. Now that cannot be good. That is a recipe for the lungs to really get hurt. Now, like I said, I'm no healthcare guy. I am not someone who has studied any kind of, well, professionally studied any kind of medical thing. But I have studied gases. I have studied temperature. I have studied many, many more things. And I can remember it all. I studied that when I was 15 years old. And I can remember it all even today. So, if you are a medical practitioner, if you are a doctor, and you did not know that, I would suggest going to a college and taking up a subject like power machines, strengths of materials, mechanotechniques, fluid mechanics. Those are the subjects that goes hand in hand with being really in a position to know how things work. For instance, fluids traveling through your veins, gases cooling down or heating up in a body. This is very serious things. There's different ways of heating, cooling, or just basically keeping gases. There's methods of changing its volume. There's methods of changing its temperature. There's adiabatic and polytropic and isothermal. Yeah, those are things that I bet very few people have heard in their lives. But you have to know, what does it mean when a gas goes through an adiabatic process or a polytropic process? What is happening to the pressure, to the volume, and all of those characteristics? That is very, very serious. I hope I haven't confused some medical practitioners now with this, but guys, please keep that in mind, especially when you are trying to figure a new thing out. You have to go technical. It is not all medical, because we are living in a world that just works on technical things. So yeah, remember those: adiabatic, polytropic, isothermal. Those are just methods of changing gases to get a different result. And it happens in the human body, it happens in nature, it happens in construction, and in producing gas, of course. But enough of that. Thanks for watching. And boys have ate their food, not too much. Only 3 each. Yeah, they're on a diet, and I think it's necessary. Thanks for watching. Like always, Have a great day.